I grew up in a Catholic family, and so I always attended church. Every Sunday, I never felt like I had a relationship with God. I prayed the prayers that I memorized, repented for my sins, followed the commandments, and one of the important things to me was saving myself for marriage, which was something that I held on to even when I went off to college. My junior year, I was at a New Year's Eve party and met a guy, and we started talking, and went back to his apartment, and things started to get a little bit more physical with him. I struggled to get away. I said no, and it was at the point when he looked me in the eyes, I knew he was going to rape me. Afterwards, the days just went by like a blur. I felt that God was punishing me for something that I had done, and I didn't know why. I felt disconnected from church and from God, and so I stopped attending church, ended up having suicidal thoughts, and wanted to end things and sank into a deep depression. My relationship with God at that point had changed. When I graduated from college, I wanted a clean start, so I moved down to Florida. I packed my car, took a job, and moved down here without knowing anyone. After living down here for a few years, I started feeling depressed again. I felt isolated and alone, and I was in relationships with guys who were not good for me, and I was okay with it because it was attention, and I felt like I was still ruined, and I felt like I was worthless. I didn't want anyone to know, and so I kept it inside and hid it from people. But because I was getting attention and because my self-worth was so low, I was okay with the relationships that I was in. I met Kelly through an ad I placed, and we ended up becoming really good friends. She took care of my dog, so then we would go on doggy dates where we would get coffee at Starbucks, go to a dog park, and we would just talk to each other. And one of the days I was at my lowest and contemplating not being here anymore, Kelly and I started talking about God and the church, and she had recently just joined Church Experience, and so she wanted me to come, but didn't know when to bring it up, and so she brought it up that day and told me how much she loved it. And so I ended up making the decision, instead of doing what I was planning on doing that night, I waited and I decided to attend that Sunday. And Kelly didn't realize at the time, but she had just saved my life. When I came to Church Experience, I loved the messages that Brandon had for us every Sunday. I always felt like a part of it. He was talking directly to me. I started to get connected by joining Kid Experience, and I volunteered with the kids there, which really helped me feel like I had found a family. On October 14th, 2015, I was baptized as an adult. Standing in the water, and Brandon was joking around with me, I knew it was something that I was meant to do. Coming out of the water, I felt free. I felt like it was a new me, and physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, I was becoming a new person. And part of that was forgiving the guy that had raped me, and it was so hard to do, but it was something that I did, and it helped free me from the guilt and the shame of my past. God's done some amazing things in my life since I joined Church Experience, and I look forward to more amazing things to come.